Alright, so my friends, welcome to a special episode of Bronze Mythic. I'll be going over my draft decks from Pro Tour Outlaws and Thunder Junction. And of course, the Pro Tour was 3 rounds of draft, 5 rounds of constructed, 3 rounds of draft on day 2, 5 rounds of constructed. I played Esther mid-range in standard. My full Pro Tour recaps on my main channel. You can go watch all of that and learn about constructed, learn about the testing house, all the behind-the-scenes shenanigans, stuff like that. A lot of fun. But this is going to be focusing entirely on my 2 draft decks in the tournament, and pretty interesting too, actually, where my 2 draft decks were both green-white, and we tested. Obviously, we did maybe 10 house drafts to practice for this event. Green by far the best color, not even close. White second best color, so naturally green-white's a very good color combination. Also, one that doesn't really need rares to win. There are a lot of rares in this format, and a lot of really good rares also. But as far as like winning with commons and uncommons, green-white was a very good way to do that. And it's funny, I'm pretty contrarian usually when it comes to Pro Tour drafts, where if everyone wants to do green-white, I'm happy to be like, blue-black and to get all the late rares. But for this Pro Tour, green-white was just kind of open, So, open my first pack, I see Wily Duke staring back at me, and obviously an ideal scenario, right? Great rare, really good in the green-white deck, just powerful card in general, absolute must-kill, where you're just like, you just crew every turn, draw a card every turn, well-sized card, really powerful card. So happily slam Wily Duke, and then throughout pack 1, white was pretty open. I got like a trained Arnix, which is one of the best, if not the best commons in the set, like third maybe. Got a throw from the saddle, and after pack 1, I had like Wily Duke, throw from the saddle, and like 6 or 7 white cards. All reasonable cards here, and pack 2, open up some good white card, take it, whatever. And then I get past a Terror of the Peaks, which is obviously an absolute bomb rare. Terror of the Peaks, really busted bomb rare, obviously. It's red. The problem is that while I'm mostly white, I only have like 3 green cards. They're all really good. And I think red is the worst color in this draft format, whereas green and white are the best colors. And if I end up playing the Terror, I'm probably not playing the green cards. Could maybe splash, but like my deck's so aggressive, I don't really want to do that, I don't think. So I take, some decent white common over the Terror. Might have been a Homestead, actually. And, just kind of stay the course, pick up another green card, maybe a Beaver, but mostly just white cards. White was super open. Get a late Arnix again, which is awesome. And great curve here, double Homestead. Really good, these aggressive mount decks. And really cool also is that the homesteads are really good in my deck because I have a lot of Scry. So I have 4 Holy Cows, which EDB to Scry, and then I also have the Arnixes as well. So setting up the land on top for the homestead was super easy to do, which is awesome. Obviously really good, makes the card even better, which is great. And got some flyers. And then my last real interesting pick in the draft was in pack 3. Pick 2 had the option between Bounding Feldar and Mystical Tethers, which is like the common O-Ring. At this point, I have no removal. This is a 4-spell deck. I've got literally 1 throw from the saddle, 2 take up the shields, and a reach from the sky, which isn't even that good. And I don't have many removal spells, but I've got the Stable Master, which taps for 2 mana for a mount. And then I have the 2 Homesteads, which get extra lands also. So playing this Bounding Feldar in turn like 4 or 5 is like a very real possibility. And it's also a big top-end card in a deck that lacks rares. So decided to take the Feldar over the removal spell. My teammates were kind of split on it. I think most of them were taking the removal spell. But the Feldar won me a game by itself, so obviously hashtag scoreboard. That's my deck. So honestly, no, only 1 rare, not a lot of removal, but super low curve, very aggressive deck. 4 3-power 2-drops, a bunch of flyers, a little bit of top end. Supplier is actually pretty good in this format. Big flyer. And that was that. Round 1 I played against, I don't remember what his name was, but I won a pretty easy round 1, honestly, pretty clean. Round 2 played against John Emmanuel Duprat, and Duprat was playing a blue-red deck with Archive Trap, the Fork card. It's like a thing that copies a spell, and like 2 of the 2/4 crab that mills, and was trying to mill out like a kind of a combo, a control combo finish. And I got me 1 game, but I won the match, thankfully. And then the last round I played against a cool blue-green deck. I was able to overpower that with Bounding Feldar in game 1, and just a good draw in game 2. And then boom! There you go. 3 out of the first draft of the Pro Tour. I might 2-5 every draft on Bronze Mythic, but I do 3-0 drafts the Pro Tour. So there you go. So that was draft number 1. And again, constructed rounds. I went over my recap video. Ended up winning 4-3-1 on the day. And into day 2 means I get to draft again, right? So we get to go into draft number 2. And, you're white again.
Hasta la vista, baby.
And, again, not planning on doing this. You know, again, I'm fine being contrarian. My pick 1, pack 1 in this draft. Kind of a weak card pool, honestly. This is a no rare deck. And I think I picked 1, pack 1 Clear Shot, I think. It's a really, really good green removal spell. And this deck has some removal spells in it, of course. This deck has Mystical Tether. It's got Snakeskin Veil, which is really, really good. Yeah, Steer Clear, Clear Shot, Take Up the Shield, and a Last Time Loss. So this deck, while it doesn't have the crazy curve that the last deck did, it does have more removal spells, which is nice. I think it's like a little bit worse, but kind of just like settled in the green white pretty early. Got a Griff like 4th or 5th, pack 1. Got Last Time Law, pack 2, pick 1. And just ended up with a reasonable, if somewhat unexciting, green-white deck. You know, decent curve, got some flyers, got some top end, more removal spells. And, I think it worse than the first deck, but still pretty solid. And round 1, I defeat... I don't remember, honestly. I won the first 2 rounds. Won the first 2 rounds. Definitely very close games, but able to pull it out. And then went into the third match against Sean Goddard. And Sean had literally the best draft deck I've ever seen in this format, and he had 0 rares. Not even 1. He had the perfect black-white sacrifice deck. Let me find the image for you guys. Hold on 1 second. So unfortunately the photo's terrible, but this is Sean Goddard's deck that beat me in the last round. And his deck was actually unbelievable. It had 0 rares. It had 3 Ruthless Lawbringers, which is the creature that sacrifices a creature to kill something. Had 2 Hollow Marauders, 2 Lively Dirge to get the Lawbringer. 2 Contractors to draw cards. Like the perfect like black-white sack deck. Even at 2 Concealed Courtyards. So I'm sorry, there were rares. I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry. There were rares in the deck. There were 2 lands. And then the one, I guess, rare Sean had was a Morbid Opportunist. The literal best card ever for a sacrifice deck, right? So this deck was insane. Sean destroyed me and I wasn't even mad. I was just like, wow, your deck's insane. I have not seen a successful black-white deck in the format yet, and your deck is just perfect. It's almost perfect. So Sean got me real good. So I 2-1 the second draft, which, is obviously fine. I think for this deck to go 2-1, you're pretty pleased. This is not the best deck of all time. So at a Pro Tour, 2-1, usually you need a good rare or 2 to go 3-0 at a Pro Tour. Obviously, it's not very, very easy, but 2-1's pretty cool. But there you go. So went 5-1 at the Pro Tour Unlimited. Can't win a match of Bronze Mythic. But here we are. And both decks are pretty good. Grant's obviously great. And it's funny because I was totally happy to draft other colors. I've been, I was base Grixis a number of times in the Pro Tour house. I can show you all the Pro Tour decks. So let's look at our draft decks in the Pro Tour from the house drafts. Look at some of my house draft decks. My first house draft was actually a really good green-white deck with all commons. So kind of foreshadowing, but I had a really cool Grixis deck in the house. These are all the Pro Tour testing house drafts. Really cool Grixis deck. Was a Jund deck once. This deck didn't it looked pretty good, but didn't play that well. It was black-white. I tried black-white once, twice, couldn't get it to work. But this like a gift sentence or whatever. This is a really bad Naya deck. This deck was just terrible. And then another black-white deck. So tried different things in the house. Was not afraid to experiment, and not be green or green-white. But that's what happened in the Pro Tour. So those are Pro Tour drafts. Let me know what you think. Obviously, I don't have an exact draft log or whatever. I can't go over every pick, unfortunately, because it's just not recorded like that. But that's it. So the show will return tomorrow if you're watching on YouTube. And then I also have an interview section as well, kind of live from the Pro Tour episode of Bronze Mythic. I'll be going over some interviews and stuff. Super fun. Look for that one on my channel as well. But for now, YouTube folks, I'll be able to comment, subscribe. You're all great. And peace. I'm out.